remote work. It's a very interesting thing that, what remote work can do for us. It can change our life pretty much. I have experienced it myself. Uh, First, when 4 years back, I moved to Goa. For a good 2 years, I lived in Goa and ran a satellite office in Goa. But mostly it was like working remotely. I was working from Goa, and while most of my colleagues are working from Delhi, I and a small team of sometimes one, sometimes two people, sometimes three people at max, we were working out of Goa. Why did I move to Goa? That's a very interesting story. So when I was, back in 2016 or so, from many problems, especially the pollution in Delhi really disagreed with me, and I started developing a lot of problems in my hip joint. I actually had double surgeries of both my hip joints because of the pollution. The blood flow in my hip joint had literally stopped, which required some serious surgeries, and for a while there was a serious uncertainty, and I was bedridden for 6 months. And then when I got slightly better, I decided that I don't want to stay in Delhi and endure more winters. So in the summer of 2016, I actually moved to Goa and started living in Goa, and that really helped. Before I couldn't run, I couldn't jump, I could barely walk. If I walked for too long, I used to have terrible pain. But after I moved to Goa and there was so much fresh oxygen, it changed my life. I could start running again. In fact, today also I work out, I lift weights, I can do many things that was unimaginable before. But living in Goa really changed a lot of things. But that meant that I had to work remotely to live in a place like this. That is one thing. The other thing is that remote work is life changing for another reason, because then you have the whole world, right? You don't have to be in one city. You are not depending on uh, one job market. So today, if you are working from Bombay, you have to get a job in Bombay. If you're working from Bangalore, you can only work in Bangalore companies or law firms or wherever, right? But you're restricted to that market. Now that changes. If you can say that, no, I'm going to work remotely, you can work with anybody in the world. You can work with a foreign company also, right? And it is very much possible. Like we have done work for, like, we are launching a course with a foreign university today. Nobody has traveled to each other's country to sign an agreement for that matter, but we are doing everything online. And it is possible now that we are working like this. A university in Texas is collaborating with Lawsico to launch a course, but all of it is happening online. And the internet and computer has enabled us to do so. And the biggest thing was that we had to change our mindset that we can work remotely, right? We can do things remotely. Then a lot of things become very much possible. Things that were impossible before, things that seemed like fairy tale before, becomes possible today, that you can work remotely. Imagine I have students amongst Lawsico students who are actually working with US professors, helping them manage their online presence, helping them to research. If there are any students here from law school courses, they would have seen we had put out invitations for our students to apply for research associateship with professors abroad in the US. Can you imagine that? Now, remote work is catching up, and over time, and these are paid internships, right? And paid research associate positions. In the future, there will be more. We have lawyers who are working entirely for foreign clients, sitting in India, entirely working for foreign clients. Okay, there are people who are catering to the needs of foreign companies in India or even in other countries. So as long as you have the expertise today, people are open to giving you work even if you're not sitting in their office, and that has increased right now. The reason I am doing this program today is because the world has changed after this pandemic, right? One of the good things that have happened is that people are not saying that, oh, unless you come and sit in my office and work, I don't trust you. That people used to say before, but not anymore. People are not saying it. People are not saying, unless you sit in my office, I mean, because most people are not sitting in the office today and they have gotten used to it. They have learned how to work with people who are not in your office. And this is a big thing to learn, by the way. Like I had to learn this. I was forced to learn this. So when I was building Lossico, one of the biggest challenges was that how do we hire quality people? Because if you have to hire quality people, we have to pay them a lot of money. Normal sense, right? That you want to hire very good lawyers to come and teach in Lossico, then we have to pay them that much money. Otherwise, why should they not work in a big law firm? Why should they not do their own practice and earn a lot of money themselves? So if we have to bring them, then we have to pay them that much. So how can we do that? It was very difficult for us to hire quality people because we're a bootstrap company. We don't raise investments. So what do we do? So one of the things we realized is that there are a lot of people, a lot of good lawyers, they are in the smaller towns, smaller cities for many different reasons. Maybe somebody got married and moved to a smaller city, okay? Or somebody is from a smaller city and want to live there with their parents or with their family. Or they want to, this is a life choice that they prefer to stay in a place like that. So then there are, mothers who have young children and they do not want to commute to office. They want to work from home. And they are all very good people. They are fantastic resources. But can we hire them and can we work with them? It was a big challenge for us. And we, for a while, every team struggled. When we started hiring people in operations first and then in other teams, in content team, there were massive problems. People said, no, how is it possible? We can't make them work. We can't monitor them unless they're sitting in the office. How can we see what they're doing? We wouldn't know, we can't teach them, we can't train them, blah, blah, blah. So many problems. Today, our company is running 100% remote, right? And we are forced to. But 3 years back, we decided that we were going to start hiring people in remote basis. And even before the lockdown started, before the pandemic happened, we had 4 to 5 teams which were run by work from home remote workers, right? They became so important in the company that they started heading entire teams. Okay, so this is a brilliant thing, right? And it opened the opportunity for us. It was a brilliant opportunity for us that we can actually bring in people from other states, right? Otherwise, it was not possible. To hire people only in Delhi was so difficult. But when we said that, no, we are open to hiring people from anybody and they can work remotely, we had access to a much larger talent pool and we could hire anybody, right? It was a big advantage for Lossico. One of the reasons that we have grown very well, we have succeeded in building a brilliant team, we have succeeded in delivering really great quality education is because we have been able to hire in this manner. Now, the same advantage is now available to all the companies in the world because everybody, by hook or crook, they have been forced to learn how to work remotely, right? Some of them are doing it well, some of them are not doing it well, some of them are still learning at the step 1, some people are at step 3. That depends, right? But people are learning and people are now willing that, look, so somebody sitting in America or somebody sitting in Germany or France is thinking that, look, if I have to hire a computer programmer or if I have to hire a call center person or I have to hire a customer service representative, okay, then anyway, if I hire somebody, they're not going to come and sit in my office anymore because it's difficult, etc. So why can't I hire somebody who's going to be in another country, in a country where the salary will be like 1/10 or 1/20th? So earlier when there was the outsourcing boom, for the same reason, people were outsourcing to a company. They were hiring a middleman, a company that would be sitting on a BPO, LPO, whatever, which is sitting here, okay, and then hiring people and managing them. That is not necessary anymore. If you are ready to work from home, you don't have to bring people into an office in a different country then it's much easier. You can directly hire them, onboard them into your company without any middleman or any company in the middle, any BPO in the middle. That means that you can just hire people in other countries. It's simple, right? And companies are doing this. By the way, you know that there is a big economic crunch in India. Okay, people are losing jobs. There are a lot of people looking for jobs. You go on LinkedIn, you will see so many people are searching for jobs. They have lost their jobs, but not so in the technology sector. Do you know why? In the technology sector, there is a boom. There is a huge demand for technology people because foreign companies are extensively hiring Indian programmers. Okay, engineers are having a great time right now. Not all engineers. The soft people who are great coders, who are able to build good products. Those people are so much in demand because it's not local Indian demand. It's a demand from foreign countries. They are ready to work with Indian coders because they don't need anything. They're like, we are going to hire you, we're going to pay you more money and just work with us because it is so much cheaper for them, right? And this is happening. So no outsourcing earlier happened that some Indian company has to go there, get the work, then hire the people here. No, all of that is gone. There's just straight away direct relationship between the person directly working in a company abroad. And this is happening. Maybe they're working as a freelancer, not as a full-time employee. But this is happening, and this is the future. It's very clear. Once people have experienced this, the power of this, earlier there was simply a lot of inertia. See, it's like this, okay? If sometimes you have a really old person in your family who still doesn't know how to use a mobile, and then they use mobile for some time, and maybe it is because they really have to use it. There is no option. They have to order something online, or they have to contact some children in a different country. So they reluctantly start using the mobile phone. And once they start using, they start getting the taste of it. Very soon they're using it like they are playing Antakshari on their WhatsApp and looking up their childhood friends on Facebook, right? I'm sure all of you have seen your, parents' generation maybe, or in your generation, people are doing this. People who never used mobile phone before, smartphone before, internet before, are suddenly using the internet like every day, all the time. And this happens, right? So this is exactly what the magic of remote work. It is so powerful. It is so efficient. It forces companies to be more efficient, and it forces people to be productive, because now you cannot sit in the office and charge money for that, because a lot of jobs are like that. You go sit in the office, get paid for that, and it works for some time at least. Eventually you might get discovered, but for some time in large organizations then it might work. But now when people are working remotely, then everybody is careful that no, I need to know what work you have done, what is your productivity, what work have you produced, right? And because of that, it is becoming more efficient. So people are using more software, they're using more smart delegation techniques, they're doing better review. So because of all of this, I am very confident, and I can say with great confidence today that work from home and remote working is going to pick up like anything. And it is very beneficial, right? Imagine that you are living, maybe you're not from Bombay, but you got a job in Bombay. You have to live in Bombay in an expensive apartment. You have to pay so much rent. You have to travel in a bad traffic every day. Commutement is such a huge problem for so many people. Millions of people suffer every day through hell to commute in Bombay. Okay. Now imagine that 50% of these people can suddenly don't have to go to office. They can work from home. Right? It changes everything. Right? It changes their life. They are going to get paid the same amount, but they can work from somewhere else, maybe Nasik, maybe from Thane also, which is, just outskirts of Bombay, but much better place. They don't have to travel every day to work. It's a game changer, right? So, and people then can come and go back in their village and live there, go back to small towns and live there, where the quality of life is better. There is less pollution. The expenses of day-to-day living is much less. And this is happening. Facebook has announced that till end of the year, people don't have to come to office. And there are other technology companies are also doing it. Till December, they have said 6 months back, with the intention that in December, they'll say, okay, don't come anymore. Only few people need to come. Most people should be working from home. Now, this is a game changer, right? In fact, there are cities and there are states that are saying that please come and live in our city. We'll give you facilities. We'll give you cheap housing. We'll give you money to come and stay here. Because then why not? You want to, if that is the option, you don't have to live in a city where you work. Because right now, everything you organize, okay, I have to work in this place, I have to live here, then the children have to find a school here, blah, 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 everything in one place, right? But now you have an option that you don't have to live in the same place. You can go somewhere in the world, anywhere in the world. There should be internet. It should be easy to commute. So more and more people are now saying that why should I work from this big city? It's much better to work from somewhere else. Many people today during the lockdown are working from their hometown. In law firms, people who live in Bombay, but they have parents back home in Patna, in Calcutta, in Jammu, in anywhere, Chennai, Bangalore. They are working from there. Small towns, they're working from there. Jaipur, they're working from there. In a Bombay law firm or Delhi law firm, they're working from their hometown. And some people have to come back. Let's say you have to practice at the Supreme Court, you have to be there, right? You don't have an option. But what if, you can appear online before the courts, right? So things are really changing, and it is things will change even more, because it's a game-changing thing that you can live anywhere, you can walk from anywhere. But yeah, there are some things that you have to think of, that given that it is such a huge thing, it is such a huge, powerful change that is happening around the world. What would be some of the problems that you'll be facing if you want to work remotely, right? So one thing about working remotely is that you are responsible for results, right? People have huge, I would say, problem, like organizations are just learning how to work online. But if you ask them that, can you even train us online? Can you give me, can you actually teach me how to work and correct my mistakes and all of that? There is less chance of that, right? You can't sit next to your boss and make mistakes and your boss will look over your computer and correct it. All that's not going to happen now, right? You have to really be more responsible for your work. You have to show your productivity. Remember that it is not the job of the company to find out if you're productive. You have to be productive and you have to show your productivity. That, look, this is a good work I have done today. This is a good work I have done this week. This is a good work I have done in the last month, so on, right? Then this is a good work I have done in the last 1 year. You can't say, I have done the work, now you notice my work. No, it's not gonna, it's more harder, right? Second thing is that how do you stay productive yourself, right? Can you deliver enough work? Because earlier it was there, you have a structured environment, you have an office where you go in, you spend your day in certain way, there are certain meetings, all of that. Some of it even is still there, online meetings and stuff, but now you are more responsible. You can't say that, no, my children fell sick and my mother was, quarreling with my dog, and because of that I couldn't work. Nobody cares, right? You are now more responsible. You have to deliver work. And it is a challenge. Like, if you are not able to find a rhythm, if you're not able to find a discipline, then you are in trouble, because you have to make it work. And also you have to create an environment around yourself where you can work, right? Which probably means that you need more space. So imagine in Bombay, people lived in really small houses. I have lived in Bombay, although I lived in relatively bigger houses. But most people I have seen, they lived in really it will be like, I used to, sometimes I'll go to see a house with a broker and you will show me a room and I'll say, this is a room, this is smaller than a bathroom. What is this? Where will I put my bed? Where will I sleep? What is this place? But people lived in that kind of houses in Bombay and they still live in very small rooms. Why can they do that? It is simple, because they don't do much in their house. In the morning, they're out, early morning, they're out, they're going to their office, they work in the office throughout the day. Then they don't come in the evening, they don't come home, they go out, which is why Bombay has a huge number of restaurants and bars and public entertainment, right? So people go there and they only come late at night to sleep. There's not much that they expect to do in the house, right? So that can be managed, but that is changing. Now, if you have to spend all your day in that house because there's nowhere else to go, you have to work from there. and everybody in the family has to work from there, then it's not possible, right? So then you need bigger places, you need an environment where you can work from, then maybe you have to move out of Bombay. But that has to be figured out. Those challenges will come, and those challenges have to be taken head on, because if you're thinking that no, this is temporary, later on I'll work from my office again, why do you want to do that? Because it is possible now, and not only possible, it will be the norm going forward. I can assure you that this is not going to change, that this is going to be a norm, that you will be working remotely. More people will be working remotely than they'll be working from the office. Okay, why? Because it is superior, it's more efficient, and there'll be better jobs. The better paid jobs with better places will be online, will be remote. And you will get massive opportunity to work with foreign companies at a better pay. You know, Indian salespeople I know already are getting offer from US companies, but they have to work on their accent, they have to work on their knowledge. But there are opportunities, right? That will, and more opportunities will open up. Okay, so that's definitely very, very exciting. One thing that I can say that would definitely be a challenge for many of you if you are going to work remotely is the question: how do I approach? Who do I reach out? How do I reach out, and all of that? It's the same thing that way you search for jobs offline, you can do that online as for remote jobs as well. Okay, just like you search in your own city, but yeah, you have to open your mind, you have to network outside your territory. So if you decide that, okay, I want to get a work from home job in the Middle East, is it possible? Surely possible, right? Why don't you try and see? If you're a law student, you can try and see if you can do some internship online with Middle Eastern law firms, right? Which we have done. Some of our students have gotten internship in the Middle East. Okay, one of our students do a virtual internship with a big law firm in Tokyo, right? So it's possible. You can get foreign internships sitting in India, but you have to network, you have to build relationships, you have to reach out to people, you have to show them why you are relevant, right? So all of that has to be done. So if you do that, then you'll get that work. Not only internship, even jobs. There are people who can actually get jobs in those places, but you have to show that you are capable, because you have to understand that this is still not the mainstream. In law, in the field of law, people getting job abroad is not the mainstream. So what I advocate is that you can start with a different kind of job. So for example, you can start with research assistantship, you can start with marketing. Law firms, lawyers need to do marketing, they need to do content marketing, they need to do social media marketing. In those countries, even advertising is allowed for lawyers. They need support with their Google ads, Facebook ads, kind of stuff like that. And they want people who can work on these things, right? So if you are somebody who know these kind of things, or you can learn and you can actually, approach lawyers and say that I am a lawyer in India and I also have knowledge of marketing. I also have ability to manage your social media profile, and I expect this much salary. So many of them will be very willing, because to hire somebody of that caliber in their country or of that kind of specialization in their country is very, very hard. So if they can find somebody who's willing to work virtually on these kind of things, they will really look up, they'll be interested. I can assure you they'll be interested. But once you get that kind of work, it is possible to get into legal work eventually, because once you have a relationship, they see that you are capable, you are smart, you know your law, you are able to write good articles maybe for them. Slowly you can get into doing some legal work as well. It is absolutely possible. Many people have done this. Okay. All right. So it's 9:30 and I have spoken a few things. Just want to see at this point if there are some questions. So I have a request that, why don't all of you introduce yourselves in the chat? The chat is open. Let me just send you a hi message to all of you. Hi, everyone. I request you to also introduce yourself. Tell me who you are, where you are logging in from, what do you do? Are you doing any remote work? What has been your experience? Please share in the chat. I'd love to know. It's a great opportunity for all of us to network here on this platform. You are here. And by the way, if you introduce yourself, all the others can see who you are. And it's a community that we are building here. I'll also get to know you are. So it's great after that, Many of you, I can see some familiar faces. You have been here before. I can see Ghazal here. There are Perivalan, hi. Rakhi is here. So Srikara is here. Sushil is here. So it would be nice to like just introduce yourself quickly, and it's good to see you. I do these sessions every weekday, more or less. I didn't do it yesterday, there was another session, but mostly every weekday I do these sessions, and on very interesting topics. So definitely would love to, hi Kushwant, you're working with Losico. Good, remotely, I'm sure. So the company has grown so much now. I don't even know everybody who's there in the company, but good to know. What team do you work in, Kushwant? So you know that it's a great opportunity for us to get to know each other, be in touch with each other. What I'd also do is that I'll share my Twitter profile with all of you. Some of you are already following me. Please join me on Twitter. This is a platform where I can connect with all of you. You can send me direct messages with your questions, observations, feedback, anything you want. Okay, so definitely follow me on Twitter and get in touch with me. I'll follow you back. Anybody who follows me right now during this session, after the session, I will go and follow you all back immediately, right? In the next 30 minutes, whoever follows on this link. Okay, and if you're not on Twitter, by the way, definitely it's a fantastic platform. Definitely join Twitter. It's a place where you can network with many, many great lawyers who are socially active, and you can build your network on Twitter. Very definitely a great place. You might be even able to find some work on Twitter. You might be able to connect with foreign lawyers on Twitter, right? That's also a great idea. Hi Samriti, good to see you today. Okay, so how to overcome the challenges we face while working remotely. So that's the topic today. So I have discussed a couple of challenges. Kushwant is making Hindi news analysis every day. Nice to see you here. Ghazal is here. Started Indore-based law firm providing legal services to businesses and corporates. We are working across India, possible just because of remote working culture. Yes, and this is so amazing, right, Ghazal? So you can work from Indore, work from any companies across the country, and nobody says that, do you have an office in Bangalore? Do you have an office in Bombay? And some people may do, but it's a trend, right? People are changing their mindset over time, and over time people realize that, okay, there's a law firm in Indore, means I can get, I don't have to pay as much as a Bombay law firm, which might be charging me for their expensive office rent, right? So definitely that's a great advantage, and this is a culture that will spread faster, right? Okay, awesome. So good to have you. Now the question is that, that's great, but can you also start working for foreign clients as well? It's possible now, right? Why only work for clients in big cities from Indore? Can you work for even foreign lawyers in other countries, right? So that will be quite interesting to see, right? So maybe you are an expert on GDPR, the General Data Protection Rules, which is a law in Europe, but it applies to so many players across the world. Even in India, there's a lot of work around GDPR. Now, if you are serving clients in India with respect to GDPR, why can't you do the same for African companies? Why can't you do the same for companies in the Middle East, maybe? So that's very interesting, right? Once you start drafting technology contracts, if you're doing it for Indian clients, why can't you do it for foreign clients? Because the difference is not so much in the contracts, right? So it will be quite interesting to see going forward how remote working shapes up. So what is the challenge? What is the challenge, right? So some of the challenges are definitely, how do you connect with people? How do you stay connected with your team, right? It is a big challenge, because if you understand that, if you have any work experience, very well that it is not only the quality of your work, but also your relationship with people that matters, right? So how are you going to build strong relationships with your clients? How are you going to build strong relationships with your coworkers with your boss for that matter, right? How will you build a strong understanding? Because it's very easy for online conversations to be misunderstood because the person is not in front of you. So many times it happens that you get into an argument on WhatsApp or something like that on some platform, online platform, but if you pick up the phone and talk to each other, things get quickly resolved. So this is important to remember, that all of this technology is great, but it's not personal, right? So here, even when we are at least on a platform like Zoom, we can see each other, we can look into each other's eyes, literally. It's important for human beings to understand. When you hear my voice, you can hear the tone, you can hear the way I'm speaking, you can notice my body language. These things are important. We cannot underestimate the power of these things to communicate, right? We don't communicate only through words, we communicate through our body language, our facial expression, our even eye contact. Okay, people, even we are all experts at reading body language. We do not always read it very consciously. Maybe we are not able to consciously translate what is going on, but we feel uncomfortable when somebody is lying. We feel uncomfortable, for example, right? We have these ancient methodology built into our brain which can detect danger, which can detect threat, which can detect a challenge, so on, like, many things, right? So when it all goes online, that is diffused, right? That access to understanding things becomes a little hard, and it becomes really easy that, so it's important to remember that get on the phone, get on a Zoom call, see each other, look at each other and talk, because these things make a difference, right? You can understand what the other person is saying. Coming to a conclusion is easier, so on. So yes, we are not going to be able to meet if you are going to work remotely, but get on the phone when necessary, get on a Zoom call when necessary, and build that personal connection. We have to make a special effort now to build those personal bonding and relationship with our coworkers, failing which it can take there will be a price for it if you don't do that, right? So that's a big challenge to keep in mind, that you have to build good relationships with people, and maybe sometimes travel to that city where you have worked, where your co-workers are, meet them. I don't know, like, you have to figure out ways to do it. But building that personal connection with people is very critical. If people are comfortable with you personally, as a person, makes a huge difference, right? There are some comments. Let's quickly take a look. Samrit is saying, I'm just starting off, and when I recently joined LinkedIn, I started building connections slowly, and I received connection requests from foreign law consultants and other people, and it's amazing how people are open to connect. Yeah, people are open to connect because they know that they might someday hire you, or you might hire them, right? Or you might refer them a client or something. Like, it's very powerful. People know that I'm connecting with more people, it's very good, and new opportunities can come their way because they're connecting. It's really, really important. And you should also try, being a student, I understand you're in your first year, but why not, connect with people in other countries and see if you can help them with something, or to develop that understanding that what can you propose to them, that I can help you in this way. I can help you manage your social media. Maybe you can't do anything else. Can you help them manage their social media? Maybe you can. Maybe you can help them to write marketing articles. Maybe you can help them to research. Offer them something, and you can do it for free also, right? Once you start doing something with one person, it can lead to another thing. And if you do it well, they'll be willing to refer you. They'll want to give you more long-term work. They'll be willing to pay you. So things change. As you do some good work, things open up, opportunities open up. So you must do that. There's Suman who's saying, Suman this side from Hyderabad, and lead discovery enthusiast working for Quizlex Inc. for more than 9 years. Glad to see you. Great. So Suman, that's so fantastic, right? Now, if you know e-discovery work, maybe you can actually, actually work for a company in the US directly. You don't have to, because they are hiring remote workers. Their people are working remotely. You don't have to necessarily, you can actually work for companies in the US now, given your experience. You can directly work with even lawyers. So you'll know more than me about what opportunities exist, but this is the game changer, right? Great. So what other challenges are there? What other challenges have you guys noticed? If you are working remotely, please tell me what challenges are you facing in terms of working remotely. One thing that I can think of is people will be moving to cheaper and better jurisdictions, right? Where their quality of life will be better, where they'll have to pay less taxes for that matter, right? People might very well go to states and countries even where they'll have to pay less taxes, because if they're going to work remotely anyway, why should they remain in states and countries which have high taxes? And this will create a lot of international flux, and there may be soon laws and rules to be created by governments for taxation. The taxation rules will change to tax people where they're employed in that place rather than where they are traveling to. So those things may happen in the future. So how many of you are working remotely? If I can see, how many of you are working remotely? I can even start a poll here maybe. If you are working remotely, write yes. Well. Oh, wow, wonderful. A few people have responded, but only 3 of you have responded. What about the others? You are not working anywhere? If you are working, okay, Ghazal working remotely, anybody else? Parvez saying hi. Okay. You're all good, Parvez, but do you work remotely, yes or no? Great. So there are some questions. So I will start taking those questions. Devash Saraf, I have found that my day is a lot more productive in office. My workplace has been much slow. Work pace has been much slower at home, and I tend to procrastinate a little more than I did in office. How to deal with this? Yeah, so I can understand that this can be a challenge, but I guess the answer is that you have to learn to manage yourself better. For me, this was the case for a while. Then I realized that it's very important that I compartmentalize my day, that I have proper calendar management. So now I have a proper calendar, and it's very, very important, that I know that by this time of the day I have to finish this work. These meetings are scheduled in this way. I have my days planned and managed on my calendar. That is why my this thing has not affected really. Like my productivity has not been affected. In fact, productivity has gone up. The other dangerous side of it, this is that you keep working all day because you're saving so much time. You don't have to commute. You don't have to, some things are easy. You don't have to go to meet people, which took a lot of time. Some you have to go to meet this person, that person, and it takes time. Now you don't have to do all of that, right? So things become really simple. Okay. And it is definitely a boon that way, but then you have to set your targets very clearly. You need to have somebody in your organization who's managing you better. If you are the boss like me, like you don't have anybody managing you in your organization, in that case you need to have a coach. I have a coach who helps me to plan my time for the week, okay, for the month. I set my priorities. Okay, these things must get done. So every day morning I wake up and I know that, okay, this is my priority. This has to get done. These calls I have to make, and then I prioritize them. And the other things may or may not get done, but this has to get done. So it's always like that, right? Every day there's a clear priority that this must get done. So I think those things are important. One is priority. The second thing is planning your day on your calendar, that this is my whole day, this is how I'm going to spend it. And by the way, don't get disheartened if on the first day you write on your calendar, you're not able to manage it, right? It took me a long time to write things on calendar and actually follow it. For a long time, I was writing things on calendar but couldn't follow it. Some of it I could follow, some of it I could not follow. It's important not to get disheartened. It's like meditation, okay? So when you start meditation, what happens is that you start focusing on your meditation, whatever you're supposed to do, maybe focusing on your breath, maybe scanning the body, different kind of meditation of different things, right? Focusing on your third eye, like, on your forehead, focusing on your heart center. There are different meditation techniques. Now, whatever you are doing, okay, once you start doing it, after like a few seconds or a minute, a thought will come and you'll forget whatever you're doing, and the thought will come and it will overpower you. But then you have to realize, the moment you realize, oh, I am not doing what I was supposed to do, then that is your awareness, and then you set aside that thought and you get back to doing what you're supposed to do. And this will happen again and again and again and again, and you will get better at focusing over a period of time. If you're meditating, first day might be really busy, really bad that you're getting different thoughts. Second day will be a little better, third day will be a little better, barely, hardly better. But maybe after doing it for a week, 10 days, a month, you will get so much better. Okay, so you will become highly focused. Then also sometimes the thought will come and you will be able to set it aside. So this is how you train your brain. Okay, the same thing for being disciplined on calendar, right? If you're going to do calendar management, first time you do, you'll fail. Second time you fail, but you keep trying gently, without any self-criticism, without blaming yourself, without feeling bad about it. Just keep doing it, keep doing it. Keep coming back to your calendar, keep coming back to your calendar, keep coming back to your calendar. And slowly you will be able to build a habit. But if you get into blame games and blaming yourself, feeling bad, all these things are very bad for building a habit. You will not be able to build it. Okay. So instead, you have to gently bring yourself back. So if you start following a calendar in this way, maybe in a month or two, you'll become very good at following your calendar, managing your tasks, planning your day, planning your week. It's a very great habit, very powerful habit. Okay, Devash, thank you. There's a question from Devash, one more question. How to maintain the workspace personal boundaries, which seem to have completely disappeared with work from home? Yeah, so this is an issue. So you'll have to create spaces which are for work. Okay, so there is a personal space where you cook and you have your family time, everything, but there must be spaces where you work, and that is sacrosanct, right? So it has to be like that. Like you have to figure out in some way your workspace where others do not invade it during what time you're working in. You have to figure it out. So, if you're working from home, there are young children, you have to take care of them, that, okay, there'll be somebody else looking after them. You might have to pay for a babysitter, I don't know. But there has to be a solution. If you can't do that, then you'll not be able to be successful in your profession. This is a new challenge, There are children in your house, you're also there, and you have to work. Okay, earlier you were in office, children were being taken off by somebody else. So you have to realize that this is a threat, and there has to be some kind of solution to this, because they are children, they won't understand, but at the same time, you need to have that separation, right? If you don't have that, you will not be successful at your work. That's as simple as that. You have to have that separate mind space, separate workspace, where you know that you are working and nothing is else to come in the way. On this matter, there are colleagues who have really young children. They are very successful at work. At Losico, Komal Shah, Priyanka Karwa, Abha Saxena, and there are many others, okay, who have very young children, more than one children, and they are able to take care of it and work from home for not for 3 months, 6 months. They are doing this for 3 years, 4 years. Priyanka has been doing this for 5 years, right? So it's possible. It's not impossible. It's very much possible. Are you hearing the actual cases of these expected trends that you mentioned, moving to low tax jurisdictions, smaller towns? Absolutely. So many people have moved to their hometowns, who worked in big law firms, worked in big cities, having their own clients. They are now working from their hometowns. And you can see here we have Ghazal, who's working from Indore, which is not a small town. It's a pretty big city, but even then, it's not a Bombay or Delhi, and she's doing work across India from there. I know people in Jaipur, our students who are working from Jaipur, working in Delhi, sitting in Jaipur, working in 4 different high courts. They have filed in a single day, they were telling me a couple of days back, filed in 4 different high courts. one law firm in Jaipur. And we had actually during the lockdown itself, we had a conversation with a law firm founder from Dehradun, okay? And he talked about how he's doing international commercial arbitration sitting in Dehradun. He's working for so many big clients across India, sitting in Dehradun. So it's nothing like, these are actual trends. Moving to low tax, I have moved to Goa right now because it is a, tax is a little lower also, yes. But given that it's GST, it's same everywhere more or less. But it is a much better place to live in terms of it's everything is cheaper. I found a really good house here for much less money, and I'm able to work. There's no difference. I have good internet everywhere. Things are much cheaper. Cost of living is cheaper, but quality of life is much better. So for the time, at least I've given myself a month that I'm in Goa now, and then we'll see. And I'm thinking I might actually travel. I want to travel to Europe whenever the flights open up, because I always wanted to travel and I never get to do it because I was so busy with my company and I had an office to go to. I couldn't think of just traveling now. So I want to travel, and while working, it's possible for me to do so. So there are people who are doing it. I know many people who are doing it. I know many of my friends who have moved to Goa over the last few months. Over this month itself, there's a friend. There's a couple who are friends in Delhi with me. They're moving. One is a doctor. The other is in the content business. They are both moving to Goa. There's another friend who's a COO of a large company. He has moved to Goa, working from here for the last 2 months now. So there are so many people. It's just happening. People are moving to the mountains in Himalayas and working from there. Why not? I mean, some people are taking this as a once in a lifetime opportunity, right? We don't know what will happen later, but right now we can travel and work remotely for sure. Nobody's saying anything, right? Low tax jurisdictions happening in the US, not so much in India. I haven't heard of India is really low tax jurisdiction, right? Not that low tax. There are lower tax. People are moving their businesses, digital businesses that have been happening already. In the last 3-4 years, 31,000 HNIs moved out of India after introduction of GST and stuff like that. Even before that, because of high tax nature of India, many people moved their assets and moved themselves out of India and moved to low tax jurisdictions. There are lower tax jurisdictions like Ireland, Singapore. These are moderately taxed. Then there are tax-free jurisdictions like Dubai, Qatar, Kuwait. Like there are countries which are completely tax-free, and many expatriates move there with their family because there's good quality of life, school, everything and you can put your money there. You don't have to pay so much income tax. You can collect your money over there in that country. So many people have been doing that already. It's not now. Now it will increase even more because of remote work culture, right? So there's 6 minutes left. Any specific tool for calendar? Ghazal, I use Google Calendar, which is good enough, I find. Okay. Parvez is asking, if the person is continuously discouraging, how can we boost up? Who's discouraging? Tell us more details, please. What will be your strategy as a manager managing relatively a new team of more than 20-25 members remotely? How will you ensure that team members are aligned with the subject matter working on a project for a client? Yeah. So this is a big challenge. Managing people remotely is a much bigger challenge. I was not going into that aspect because I was assuming that people probably are, more people are working for their team, that they're more worried about that rather than managing a team. But it's a very good question. I'm glad you asked, Shuman. So for me, it has been a challenge. Training has become more important than ever. So structured training is needed. See, earlier if people are sitting around a table, you can train them by shouting at them also. But now that people are working from home, you just can't catch them and do this. So you need structured training sessions. So in our company, for example, something like sales, where a lot of domain knowledge is needed. In marketing, these things have become very hard, right? We have to train people, but remotely. So we need every day, we need daily meetings, daily training sessions, daily feedback sessions, using software. We are using more and more software since the lockdown has happened, because there's no other way we can manage this, right? So this is what I would say, that training has become more important. How do you ensure people are familiar with the subject matter? You have to come up with actually training modules and then train people systematically. You have to take tests. We are now taking people. You will have to study and give tests that we know that okay, they have actually read this stuff before actually starting some work. We are actually asking. We are having daily conversations. We actually ask people to perform the task in front of us. We see what they're doing. The entire team watches. Then there are people who do really good work, so we ask them to demonstrate to the other team members. Then others see it. So a lot of time is being spent on training now, and we have to do it, which is a good thing. We should have done it earlier also, but we could get away without doing it, so you're not doing it. Somehow we are managing. But now there is a lot of structured training. It has become absolutely necessary to give it that structure and all of that. And reporting has become very strict. Like we have to have a lot more reporting than before. We have people calling up people and checking, what are you doing? What is in last 2 hours? What progress have you made? What is the situation? And then trying to do it through software also, right? Trying to do it through software wherever possible, like having CRMs, performance management softwares, performance tracking softwares. We haven't done any performance tracking software yet, but maybe sometime we'll be forced to do it. We're hoping not to do it. Getting connected with client after project is finished is difficult. No, stay in touch. Like, you need to have digital ways to do it now. Stay connected on LinkedIn. Make sure they are subscribed to your newsletter. Send them a newsletter every week to all clients, not to only one. Make sure that you are wishing them on their important days, right? And there are softwares which can do that automatically. So you can do that, or you can have an assistant who does it for you. Make sure that you have a blog that they're reading. Make sure that you have YouTube videos, you have social media posts to engage with them. You have to stay engaged with people. These things are very important. Send them important updates in their industry. Yeah. Will there be opportunities for working remotely after the lockdown is over? Absolutely, 100%. That's what I'm saying. Lockdown will be gone, of course, but work from home is not going anywhere. More people will be work from home in the future than people working from office, because it is so much better, so much more efficient. And the companies which will work from home will succeed more because they will have access to a bigger talent pool, right? They will be able to pay more. Like imagine you can work for a company in the US, you'll be earning more money, and they will be spending less. So there are things like that, and there will definitely be a huge opportunity to work from home going forward, right? Big companies are clearly planning that to move to work from home permanently for most of their workforces, right? It makes sense for them. It makes tremendous sense for them in the long term. They'll be saving money in more than one ways, okay? And they will be getting access to a bigger talent pool. So there is no reason why they will not do it unless government starts making rules and laws preventing this from happening. This will happen. Okay. All right. Let's see what other we have got. Okay, great. So any other questions I can answer, or if not, we can wrap up the session here. And one more time, I'll request I am there on LinkedIn also, but in LinkedIn I have exceeded the number of people I can add. I can add 30,000 people, and I've already exceeded that on LinkedIn. You can follow me on LinkedIn. That is absolutely fine. But if you connect with me on Twitter, then I can follow you back, and there's no restriction on how many people I can follow or connect with on Twitter. So and you can direct message me. You can send me messages. So if you have any questions, you have any feedback, you want any guidance, you can always reach out to me on Twitter. We'll stay directly connected. So I would request you to connect with me on Twitter. This is the link, and It'll be wonderful to see you on, be in touch. And also remember that I'm doing these sessions every day, every weekday of, every working day of the week. And tomorrow, day after, and so on, there will be more sessions till Friday. And in the month of September, entire month of September, I'll do this. I don't know if I'll do this in October, but the entire September, I've taken up a personal challenge that every weekday I will do a session like this, sharing whatever little I know with all of you. So hope to see you in future sessions. And I share updates of our webinars on my Twitter, so you'll be able to check it there and keep track of it and join the ones that you want to. So look forward to seeing you on Twitter. Everybody have a great night and see you tomorrow. Take care, everyone. Take care and have have a great time doing